You're listening to Hawk Talk, the official podcast of Hettinger Public School, where we cover school news, school board meeting reviews, guest speaker interviews, and much more. Here at Hettinger Public School, we challenge all to meet their academic and life goals while inspiring lifelong learning. We are a district that values trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. Now, let's go to today's episode. Right, thank you everybody for tuning in to Hawk Talk. Today we have this episode about class registration for grades 7 through 12, and I'm sitting here with Principal and Superintendent Darren Siemens. Darren, thanks for stopping in today and talking about this.
Hey, Joel, thanks for taking the time during your summer schedule here to fit this in. We have, of course, the end of July is upon us here, and we're looking at the start of August. So typically we have our final registration done before kids leave for the school year back in May. This last year we weren't able to get that done due to some negotiations, and wanted to make sure we knew who was coming back, what kind of classes we were going to be able to offer, things like that. So long and short is we're ready to do this. We want to get this done as soon as we can. So We're looking at trying to pair this up with the parent sports night. That's also on August 1st.
Okay.
That way people aren't making numerous trips back and forth. So August 1st, again, we're going to start with registration with the seniors at high noon, 12 o'clock, and they'll have from 12 until 2 o'clock to come in. We would like a parent or guardian to come with. Sometimes that doesn't work, and we understand that. But if you have a chance, please come with your student. Seniors start at 12 on August 1st, and then juniors will start at 2 o'clock. And we'll shut that down at 4 on August 1st because about 4:15 is when some of those concussion tests take place for the sports meeting.
Okay.
I believe it starts with 7 through 9 at 4:15. We'll have those student athletes in our computer labs. They'll take the concussion test. And then around 5:15, I believe, right in there, the 10, 11, and 12th graders will take their concussion test. And then we'll start with the parent sports meeting in the big gym at 6 p.m.
Okay.
With that. So parents, you do not need to come to the concussion testing, but we do want your attendance at the meeting at 6 and then the individual sports meetings after that. So that kind of takes care of August 1st. There's a lot of stuff going on that day.
Gotcha.
August,
So that's just August 1st alone.
That's just August 1st
Okay,
alone.
so then,
Yep.
and there's something else going on August 2nd, correct?
Correct. So August 2nd, we're going to bring in our sophomores, freshmen, and junior high students to do some registration as well. So we're going to start August 2nd with the sophomores from 8 to 10. Okay, we're going to ask that sophomores come in from 8 to 10 on August 2nd. And then we're going to start with the freshmen at 10. And they'll have till noon, and then junior high, 7th and 8th graders from noon until 2 o'clock. So by the end of August 2nd, we'll have registration done, and then we'll upload that in the Power School. I'll be honest right now, a lot of, if as a parent, you can look in the Power School, and if you change the academic year to 23-24, the registration from our second pre-registration that we did in the beginning of June, those classes are already in there. A lot of times we don't see a lot of change between the second pre-registration and then the final registration. But of course, there's always the possibility that'll take place. So again, August 2nd, sophomores will start at 8, freshmen at 10, and then junior high at 12. So That's what we have for the time. So just to talk a little further about maybe just registration and what it all entails.
Sure.
So 7th and 8th graders, I'll be honest, there's not a lot of choices because we're making them take a lot of classes in junior high that when they get to the high school side of the building, those classes are considered electives, right? And because of the way our schedule is built, the size of our school as far as staffing and students ratios, you're not going to get an opportunity to take every single elective that we have.
Yep.
It's going to be pretty hard. So you're going to have to pick and choose on some of these things. So we try to give you, as a student, ample opportunity in junior high to experience them, whether it's for a semester or whether it's even just for a term, a 9-week period. So the junior high kids, there's not a lot of choice. There is some afternoon choice as far as some music and choir and study hall options, but otherwise there's not a lot of choice in junior high as far as classes go.
And don't forget video production. That's one
bet.
they can try out just a little bit.
You bet. So we do. There is some choice there. There's a lot more choice in junior high than when I was a kid. So
yep.
The other thing is, of course, was freshmen. When you come in as a freshman, it's kind of a similar scenario. We're trying to get your freshman English, your science, your math, get some of those social studies things done, give you a good foundation. So that way, the older you get, you'll be able to seize the opportunity to take these elective courses. So again, freshmen, there are some choices, but not as much as a junior or seniors per se. Okay. Because we're trying to hammer out, I'm going to call them the core classes, the ones we know they have to take for graduation requirements.
Gotcha.
And then we try to leave the opportunity as a junior and senior to open it up for different choices. So speaking of choices, this is kind of the big thing I want to just put out there is that for the size of school, I am pleasantly happy and with the opportunities that we have for our kids to take classes of different varying degrees. So I just want to go through a couple of those things that are available to our students here at Hettinger Public Schools. So a lot of times when you're a junior or senior, we start to talk about dual credit opportunities. There are 16 credits that you can accrue if you choose these classes through Hettinger Public School.
Oh, wow.
So as a senior, you could end up with 6 English credits if you take the dual credit opportunities there. There's a college algebra class that has 4 college credits if you choose to take that college algebra class. And again, that's taught on staff here by our teacher. There's an early entry class, a college calculus class that has 3 college credits that you can take. There's not any high school credit with that, but there is 3 college credits. And then we do offer medical terminology right now that has 3 college credits as possible with that as well. So from a dual credit standpoint, that's not a bad offering. In addition to that, as a senior, from your time being here, if kids work hard freshman, sophomore, junior year, and they take maybe a full day's worth of classes, or at least, push that as much as they can, you could be a senior and come in here and have opportunity to either go to work-based learning type situations and get credit, or if you're done with what you need from us, you can enroll in a college and take some classes online.
Wow.
You may not necessarily get high school credit for them. Sometimes you can. It depends on the class. Mm-hmm. But as a senior, you definitely would, if you've done well and you've taken as many credits as you can as a freshman, sophomore, junior,
yep.
You'll have yourself in a position to where you can not only take those college credits that we have on campus, but you could enroll. If you want to go to BSc or you want to go to NDSU, most colleges now have a ton of online classes you can take. So there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to do that if college is what you're going to do after graduation.
On that, I just have to mention, looking at that, that's really giving the student a lot of control moving forward outside of high school, regardless of what they're doing.
Correct.
That gives them a lot of options to kind of get a jump start on that.
Yep.
And, being a person, as you know, I'm not a big fan of math. Math was not my strongest suit. I couldn't imagine being able to take college math in the comfort of my own school. Yep. With the teacher that I'm already familiar with, instead
Correct.
of being in that new scary environment,
Yep.
Not accustomed to the teacher, not accustomed to the teaching style, and trying to learn this whole new hard thing
Yep.
again. So.
Yeah, you go to college, even at a smaller school like Dickinson State or Black Hills State, and you take these college algebra classes or you take English 101, mm-hmm. You're often going to be in a room with 200-300 kids, because everybody has to take it because it's a gen ed requirement. So like you say, to be able to take that in a class with maybe 5, 10, 15 kids mm-hmm. that you've known and that you can do some study groups with and stuff later, that's phenomenal.
Absolutely.
As far as some of the other choices that we have, of course, we have some very strong career and tech education programs on campus. Of course, a lot of them, you yourself teach some of those classes as far as the video production, yep. and gives the kids the opportunity to do a lot of that, and then the stream team opportunities. Some of the areas, of course, that we've been very strong in for many decades is, of course, our auto program out back. Whether it was Mr. Swahovic back in the day teaching it all the way up now to Mr. Tim. I believe Mr. Tim is entering his 7th year of doing it. It's gone really fast. He does a great job out there. Of course, we got a business program upstairs with Mr. Fordall with some business opportunities there. We have the family and consumer science with Miss Sott. We have agriculture with Mr. Buckmeyer. And then, of course, we have careers through Mrs. Olson down here.
Yeah, and graphic design.
Yes, and graphic design. Exactly. Yeah. So there's a lot of CTE, career and tech education choices on campus. You don't have to leave campus to go anywhere to get them. The other thing that I'm proud about is we've worked out a deal where we're partnering with West River Health Services up here on the hill, and really? we have an EMT class that'll be available first hour, to where Mr. Darrell West, he's got his teaching permit credentialed. He's been an EMT for decades. And he'll be teaching an EMT class. It's a year-long class, but at the end of the year, those kids will have their EMT certification, and then they'll be able to, when they're old enough, they'll be able to maybe even pull some duties helping our ambulance and working there. Or if they're working at ABLE, or if they're working at the assisted living, it'll definitely help with those types of things. So that's interesting there. It's nice to build that partnership with our hospital up there. And hopefully there'll be some more partnerships. And then some of the other things we have is some classes that are available through RACTC and through Great Western Network. Those are kind of our ITV classes, is typically what we call them. And we do some foreign language with them. We're also doing some foreign language opportunities through NDCDE for kids and parents that choose to do that, like French and German and Latin. Spanish and things. The Spanish is typically through ITV, but also through RATC, TCT, or ROTC. There are some opportunities for very in-depth workplace learning. It's a very committed process. We have a dental hygienist opportunity, but it's a 2-year commitment. Yeah. So it's not something that you tread into lightly. So these are more geared for juniors and seniors. And it's a very small number because of how in-depth it is with workplace. And you'll be at the dentist. You'll be at the pharmacy. There's a farm tech one. And there's a couple others. So we're talking like 1 to 2 kids at the most. Gotcha. So there's some interviews that take place to see if you're a right candidate for that. So we're excited about those opportunities too.
Let's say a parent was interested in trying to get involved or just wanted to know a little more about what that was.
Yep.
Who do they talk to?
So what we're going to be doing is, I believe RACTC is putting together via some of their teachers some clips that talk about the class and talk about the programs. And when we get those, we'll upload those to our website.
Okay.
So parents can watch those. And then a lot of it, honestly, it's the conversations that we have during registration. Okay. It's the conversations you have throughout the year with Mrs. Olson and say, okay, my kid's interested in being a farm tech. My kid's interested in being a CNA. My kid's interested in being a dental hygienist or a dentist. It's all based upon those kind of conversations and that 4-year planning that Miss Olson has been doing with them. I mean, she starts doing that with the kids in junior high. And a lot of times she sends a lot of information out through Teams that's available to the kids. She sends a lot of information out at home. But as a parent or guardian, you can come in and set up a time and sit down with Mrs. Olson and say, hey, I want a little more just one-on-one time to talk about my child. What are you seeing? What are their career aptitude things talking about? Because when you do a 2-year commitment, it would be we want to avoid getting half a year into it and then all of a sudden, well, I don't want to do this no more. And it's like, well, no,
because that was a slot for somebody else.
Exactly. That slot's for someone else. Plus there's always an expense, with all these classes, there's always an expense. It's like monies are being allocated to help pay for curriculum and consumables and to help pay contracts, so it's very important that when you have a class that's intense like that the commitment is there for the whole time.
So basically it's a massive opportunity, but it's an opportunity to not take lightly.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So again, it's another example of all the different things we have going on here at Hettinger. Again, we're looking at a pre-K-12 student population. Last year we were pushing the 290s right in there. Okay. So you look at a 712 population of we're pushing like 150, 130 right in there. So again, there's a lot to offer here. There's a lot of different opportunities, for the school our size. Do we have a career academy like Bismarck that has? No. And like Dickinson has? No. Do we offer more than what some other schools our size offer? You bet.
Absolutely.
And the idea is to give kids as many opportunities as we can afford to do, to give them a little taste of some stuff before they truly walk across that stage on graduation day, and to prepare them for that next step. So
awesome.
So anyway, it's a big deal coming up. Of course, registration is not just, hey, what are we going to be taking in class in school, especially when we get to the electives portion. It's very important. Kids are choosing things that they feel are going to go along with their career interests and things like that. And it's hard to do because that also often means that you may be taking a class with kids that you normally don't hang out with because all your buddies went into this class or whatever. So ideally our hope is that kids, and we encourage kids to pick classes that go along with career interests. So it's a fun time. There's a lot of good conversation. There's a lot of good talking that goes on during this. And again, that's August 1st, August 2nd. This information's in the Adams County Record. There's a schedule that's been posted in there. And then, of course, on our Facebook page and on our webpage as well. So ultimately, if these times don't work for you, there's been a couple families that have reached out. You can call the school. If you're going to be gone on the 1st and the 2nd, we can schedule something else to get registration done for your students. So.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming in and talking about registration. Again, registration is starting on August 1st at...
So again, we start August 1st. Wait, here you go. 12 o'clock with the seniors.
Yep, and that's running 2 hours.
Yep, and then 2 o'clock with the juniors.
Yep, and then the following. Yep, and then they have the concussions and some of the sports stuff, and then the following day will be the
8 o'clock with next year's juniors. 10 o'clock with the freshmen, and then noon to 2 with the junior high on August 2nd.
And if you have any questions about, registration or anything like that, feel free to call the school, or you can just, look us up online, and you can
shoot an email
us that way.
Yep, shoot an email.
Absolutely.
All of your students have K-12 accounts, and we've had those for years and years and years.
Yep.
And they have teams, and they have chat ability on there to chat to particular teachers and stuff.
Yes.
So don't be afraid to use that as well, or sit down with your child and say, hey, show me this chat and Teams feature through your email. It's something that we've been doing ever since COVID.
Yep.
It's not going to go away.
Nope.
As far as the use of that technology, it's the world we're living in. So, don't be afraid to sit down with your student and say, hey, show me this too, and let's send a message to maybe if you have a question for one of Mr. J's classes.
Absolutely.
Or you got a question for one of Miss Sott's or Miss Hudson-Buehler's or whoever's. Yep. Feel free to do that as well.
Awesome. All right, Darren, well, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Joel.
And thank you for listening to Hawk Talk. Remember, you can listen to Hawk Talk anywhere you listen to your podcast. Not only YouTube, but you have Spotify podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and all those other platforms. So thank you very much for tuning in, and have a great day.